Sooner or later, everything must evolve. In today's fast-moving world, smartphones have transformed how we communicate. Today, there are nearly 3 billion smartphones, a number expected to pass 6 billion by 2020. Data-driven communities are on the rise, thanks to cities tapping into the Internet of Things and connected technology. 10 billion sensors exist today, and they're expected to multiply by the millions. Social media has become a powerful, tremendously effective communication tool. Technology evolutions like these present new and virtually untapped data sources that have the potential to improve emergency response by leaps and bounds. If only the nation's emergency response systems had the capacity to harness their power. Our 911 system, 50 years old this year, hasn't evolved nearly at the fraction of this pace because of funding inadequacies, legacy systems, and staffing shortages. It's unlikely that these challenges will disappear, so what can we do? In order for us to meet the needs of today's citizens and truly improve emergency response outcomes, we must think differently. To spur progress, a handful of forward-thinking 911 agencies on the leading edge of innovation gathered at the inaugural Early Adopters Summit in Dallas to discuss their ideas, not simply to change 911, but instead to revolutionize it. A key theme? Disrupt or be disrupted.
We've been talking about Next-Gen 911 for a long time, right? So what's the difference between an early adopter and everybody else? You made a decision at some point, we're gonna stop talking about it and we're gonna do something. I would just challenge people not to be afraid of the future just because it's not the way we've always done it. And to recognize that, yippee, we're about to celebrate our 50th anniversary for 911. That's an accomplishment and that is worthy of celebration. But most people throughout the country are still on that infrastructure from 1968. In my total career, every exciting thing we've done, we have retrofitted it to that 1968 system. And I think a lot of the things that we're talking about today and that we're talking about in our industry today are going to require different thinking.
Let's look at some of the ways in which these agencies have used different and innovative thinking to change outcomes. Online platforms that aggregate data from cameras, sensors, weather feeds, on-scene reports, and more to enhance situational awareness. Enhancement tools that integrate with crowdsourcing applications like Waze to provide telecommunicators with useful data that help them make better decisions. Cloud hosting computer-aided dispatch applications that can be deployed in an hour instead of today's traditional 18 to 25 months. Staffing models that unburden telecommunicators, alleviate shortages, lessen overtime demands, and reduce burnout. Social media tools that rely on geotagging to flag important conversations that can aid in response efforts and possibly forecast or prevent emergencies. What can we do as 911 leaders to play our role in revolutionizing the 911 industry?
My advice to all other agencies is just do something. There is something that you're interested in, there is something that you're passionate about. Find your passion, and wherever that energy takes you, that's the project you want to work on.
We have to be willing to look at it differently than what we have in years past.
And I think it's our responsibility to move forward and not wait for someone else to develop something for us.
Don't start from scratch. Reach out and find out from others, your neighbors, your other states that might be doing something. There's a number of folks, everybody that's been at this summit is willing to share what they've done and provide advice and direction for how to achieve the goals without having to basically build your own from scratch.
We all take 911 seriously, and we love the 911 family and consider it our obligation to make it the best that we can with the funds that we have available.
Standards weren't yet developed. There's no blueprint to follow, so why not just get out there and try to lead the pack and make the best choices that we can make to benefit public safety.
Remembering that although 911 is our job, 50 years we've been successful at it, doesn't always mean that our emergency requests are going to come through that telephone line. How is it the public will communicate with us and how we're going to receive that? And I think the message from the Early Adopter Summit is really to be open-minded about what is our future, what is out there, and how can we work with that.
Let's take calculated risks to move innovation adoption forward. Let's share best practices. Let's think big and differently. Let's question the status quo. Let's not be afraid to fail. Let's stop talking about the future and start making it happen now. We all have a role in changing the conversation about public safety. If there's anything we can learn from the last 50 years of 911, it's that continuing to do what we've always done will continue to produce what we've always had. Together, let's evolve 911.